Hello everyone, this is part 2 of my Google Meets tutorials. So, I already gave you an introduction video, and if you look in the top right corner, I will post a card there so you can jump to the introduction video if you haven't seen it yet. This video, I'm going to be focusing on how you can add a dedicated Google Meet server to your classroom and how you can use Google Meets to schedule video appointments using Google Calendar events. And that can be for a group of people or individual people's, it doesn't matter. So, let's jump right to it. Okay, so first you're going to go to Google Classroom because I want to show you how to attach it to a classroom. So either go to classroom.google.com or go to your app drawer on any Google page and find Classroom in the list. Once you're here, I need to create a new class for this because once you have a Google Meet in a class, it will not allow you to remove it. But I want you to pick one of your classes that you want to create a dedicated classroom meet link for, and then go to it. So you see the home page right now. You should see the home page of your classroom that you want to add this to, and I want you to go up and click the cog right away to go to the classroom details and settings. Then we're going to scroll down, and you're going to see this new option for Meet. So in here, you're going to see Meet, Classroom now supports Meet, and Learn More. You'll also see Generate Meet Link and Visible to Students with a toggle. If you want to learn more, click Learn More. It talks about Google Meet and its advantages for education. But right now, we're just going to hit the Generate Link so we can create a Meet room for this classroom. So now you see a link there. That is the dedicated link as you might have seen in the past video, so you can go and visit a meet room and do a video call with someone. If you click the drop down, you're able to copy it, and you can also reset. That just gives you a brand new link if you need to change the ID for whatever reason. So once you've done that, you can hit save. And you're going to notice now at the top of your stream or the top of the home page for your classroom, under class code, there's now a meet link. If you toggle it to not be visible for students, this link will disappear. So then it's only available for you and not your students. But if you want it visible on the page, you can just make sure that's toggled on, and it'll show up right on the home page here. The other place it'll show up is if you go to classwork. You know about the Google Calendar shortcut, but there's also a Meet shortcut here. So if you click either of those Meet links, it'll open in a new tab and it'll give you the very familiar Join a Google Meet room that we've seen before. So now I want to show you a second version where you can schedule Google Meet video meetings using Google Calendar. So you can either go to the app drawer and go directly to your Google Calendar that way, or we can use the quick link here to go to Google Calendar from your classroom. I'm going to zoom it in once or twice. So once you're in here, if you've used Google Calendar before, you know that it's a very powerful calendar app that's available cross-platform. Essentially, you have a little calendar here with a bigger view here. You can switch the view between week, month, day, year, whichever you prefer. I'm keeping it on week for this because this is kind of like agenda scheduling. Also down in the left corner you see My Calendars, and you're going to see your calendar or your name for your personal calendar. Every Google user has one calendar of their own. You're also going to see birthdays. That's built into your Google Contacts. You'll also see reminders and tasks, which are related to your Google Keep application and your Google Assistant. So these are all just pre-built calendars that come with your account. On top of that, you're going to see a calendar with classroom names. So we can see the digital classroom tutorials link there. That's the one that we use for other tutorials. It has a calendar connected to the classroom, and that's where all assignments show up. That's where due dates and stuff show up. And if you wanted to add events to it, those will show up on the student side. And then the brand new Meet video example, we can see there's a classroom link for that. So I'm going to hide that for now. And we're going to do two types of scheduling here. So the first one I'm going to show you what you need to do if you want to schedule a meeting or an appointment with an individual or a select few individuals. So this might be an interview or a meeting with a colleague or your principal. It could also be a parent teacher student conference or an interview or a meeting with your parent. Whatever you need. Any meeting where you have a select few people, this is what this is for. So let's say we need to do a parent meeting with Johnny's parents on Thursday. So I'm going to say Thursday at 9 a.m. and we're just going to click in that box. You're going to get this small template to create a simple, just basic event, but because we're doing the video conferencing, I'm just going to go to more options. And so here we can see the more detailed version of creating an event. So I'm going to say meeting with John's parents, and just make sure the time slot is right, so 9 to 10 a.m. We don't want this to repeat. And if you go down, look through all the settings. So I wouldn't necessarily add a location. The add conferencing is a big thing. We want to click this and click Hangout Meet. So this is where it's going to create, as you can already see, a specialized link directly for this event now. So this is a private meet room for this appointment that only participants in this event will be able to see. So now we have that link attached to the event for a Google Meet session. You can put notifications on, of course, so notifications 10 minutes before, it'll give them a reminder. For the calendar selection down here, you can pick your calendar or the other calendars, such as your classroom calendars, possibly joint shared calendars you'll see in there. For appointments and meetings, you want to have this as your individual calendar, because that ensures that you're the only one that sees it aside from guests you add. If you're creating the general office hours, that's where you might want to use the classroom calendars, and I'll show you that next. So now that we've selected that, I'm just going to go here. You can put a description or put notes down here, so regarding mathematics help and planning. And lastly, you want to add your guests. So you're going to click Add Guests, and maybe I'm going to add Tester Joe, which could be John. You might want to also add your parents' email in there, so I'll just add an external email of mine in here. So you need to add the parents' emails, the student email, whoever, the admin, the colleague, anyone that's supposed to be in this meeting, add them to the guests there using their email or name, and click enter, and they should show up in here. And you could also apparently mark some as optional, so maybe someone's optional, just click that and they'll be optional. And that's a way to make sure people know that they're required or not. So now once you've done all of this, you can hit save and send. So you want to hit send because this will give them an email with an invitation to RSVP for the event, essentially. So it'll give them you've been invited to this, and they can do yes, no, maybe, but essentially it sends them a direct email with information regarding this appointment. And then you're going to get this one if you invite parents. So because they're not a domain email, because they're not part of your organization, and they're just using a personal email account, you'll need to say invite external guests, and this is true, you want to if you've invited them from their personal emails. And now you can see the event is there in the calendar. If you click on it, you can see in here, there's a name, information regarding it, a Google Meet link, and a Google Meet phone number for the video conferencing and call conferencing. There's also the 3 guests, and it shows optional guests, the organizer, anyone who says yes, anyone who's waiting, the notes, and a couple other things. And I can say yes if I want, or no, or maybe. So that's how that works. That's what that looks like. And every other guest on that list, once they hit yes, we'll see that in their calendars as well. And if they use the Google Meet app on their phone, they'll be able to pull up and view it on there. So the last thing I want to show you is how to create more of a classroom event. So an example of this would be if you want to do office hours where your students can drop in and talk with you, tutoring or math help or something of that sort. Something that's available to anyone. It's more of a drop-in availability. Now, I want to say schedule office hours every Monday and Wednesday at 11 a.m. So I'm going to click on Monday at 11 to start. Oh, and I click down, so you just click up a bit more. And then I'm going to go right to more options so I see the full page here. So I'm going to call it Mr. Fox Office Hours and Tutoring. And the time is right, so it's 11 to 12 p.m. But I want this to repeat, so I'm going to actually go down here and click the repeat drop down. And it gives you some options, so if any of these work for you, click them. But if not, there's this custom button that we can click. So this is for making reoccurring events. You have the option to make it repeat every 1, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week, whatnot. You can also do months, years, days. So you can do every second day if you wanted. I'm going to leave it on every week. I want it to repeat, and I want it to repeat on Mondays and Wednesdays. So I'm going to click both of those so they're blue, Monday and Wednesday. And then ends. If you don't put it ends, it'll just go for years. But I want this to end at the end of the year, so I'm going to click on ends on, and I'm going to pick June 30th. You could also do it after so many occurrences if you want to go that route. And then done. So now once we hit save, this will repeat every Monday and Wednesday at 11 a.m. Now, going through it, we're going to add the Hangouts Meet conference on the conferencing button, of course. There's notifications. I'll leave that on there. I'm also going to add one that'll be a couple hours early, so they get reminded that morning that office hours are coming up. Now, I don't want this to be on my calendar. I want this to be on the classroom calendar so every student sees this and I don't need to invite them all. So I'm going to click this and I'm going to go to the digital classroom tutorials calendar. So then this is going to post directly into the classroom calendar and all of the students can see this every day. It'll show up on their phones automatically. I'm not going to add a description this time, but you can add a description if you want. And then guests. You don't really need to invite guests. If you wanted to invite teachers, you could. Maybe you have a classroom with all of the school teachers in it. You can invite that so they know that you have this office hours and they could drop in. Maybe you have a colleague you want to add so they know when they can visit you. It's your prep kind of. And if you have another classroom, you could type the classroom name in here. So you already see the digital classroom tutorials there with a little door. If you type any of your classroom names and the option with the door comes up, you can click that, and that will add it to that classroom calendar as well. So then you can add it to maybe 2 or 3 classroom calendars and have it as general office hours for any of your students. I'm not going to do that right now. So we have it repeating with a Hangouts Meet, and it's on the classroom calendar. So I'm going to hit save now. And you can see that it is repeating, so it's every Monday and Wednesday. If I go to the next week, you'll see it shows up. If I switch to the month, you'll see it's automatically repeating on all of them until June the 30th, and then once you reach July, it stops. Similar to the other one, if you click it, it'll give you details for the time and days. It'll give you the Google Meet link and the Google Meet phone number, and it tells you which calendar it's part of. And that same link carries over for every single one of these, so you're not needing to create a new room every time. The same room will be there. Also, if you go into, say, next week you find out you can't do it on a certain day, if you click that day, you can hit delete. And you have the choice to delete just this event, and following ones. So maybe school ends up getting canceled early. You can cancel the rest of them. Or you can just do this event. So maybe you have a dentist appointment that came up. You'll have to cancel that one. You could also reschedule it by moving them around or just going in and changing the date. And if you have a particular topic you want to cover in one of them, you can click on that day, go to Edit Event, and there is an option to attach files right over here. So you can always attach a PDF or something if you want something for that day, and that'll show up directly in your Google Meeting. So I hope this helps you. I hope it is a good general overview for scheduling Google Meets and using them in conjunction with classroom events and appointments. I honestly would believe that you should use the Google Calendar events for most things. I believe that helps the best because it shows up in everyone's calendars and gives them emails. If you're doing more of a spontaneous one, you can just go directly to Google Meets and create a meeting. But if you can schedule it ahead of time, the calendars one is great because it's attached to the event and it's attached to their phone. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at WebTheFox on Twitter, or you can comment on this video. If you have suggestions for other things you want covered, just leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. And otherwise, happy teaching and good luck.